lucky to have Pooja Ranjan again, who's joined us before and is, oftentimes you talk to people in crypto and you say, does this person really know? And Pooja definitely knows. So we're lucky to have her back. But before we dive in, the information provided in today's session is for informational purposes only and does not constitute an offer, solicitation, or recommendation regarding any investment product or service. Any reference is not an endorsement by ARC nor a recommendation by ARC to buy, sell, or hold. We cannot discuss any private or non-public material information of any kind. Participants should determine for themselves whether a particular service or product is suitable for their investment needs or should seek professional advice for their particular situation. Certain statements on today's call may be statements of future expectations or other forward-looking statements and based on our current views and assumptions and involve both known and unknown risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results, performance, or events to differ materially from those expressed or implied. ARC does not assume any obligation to update forward-looking information. All information discussed today is subject to change without notice. In addition, certain information was obtained from sources that ARC believes to be reliable. However, ARC does not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of information obtained from any third party. Nick, take it away.
All right, Sam, great job with the disclosure as always. And Pooja, thank you for being a reoccurring guest. Let's maybe just start with a recap since we've last spoke and some incremental updates to Ethereum and what to expect with the merge. It was pushed back. So what are your high-level thoughts on, high-level thoughts on Ethereum since last we spoke and what we can expect over this next, few months as we near the merge, which I think has now been pushed sometime to, you can correct me if I'm wrong there.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for speaking so highly of me and putting so much of confidence that I definitely know. I can't say that for sure because this is something that changes every day and it is completely on community, but I will try my best to maybe update you as far as possible. So talking about merge, first, if I may say this hasn't been pushed because the Ethereum developers, they never declared any dates for merge. What we are trying to do here is do as much as testing possible to make sure when we bring it to the mainnet, it is all good. And why people are saying it is being pushed? Because we have announced another upgrade called Grey Glacier to push the difficulty bomb. And this is just to push the difficulty bomb, not the merge, just to make sure that the testing team should not divert their attention in managing the bomb, and changing the block time should not affect their testing. So yeah, we have quite an excitement-filled months coming up ahead.
And then what do you make before we continue on the merge with all of the DeFi unwinding? Is any of this a threat to Ethereum from a technical standpoint, or everything still seems as though it's going according to plan?
So DeFi is like an application of Ethereum, and the merge and any other upgrades are on protocol level. So my assumption is there should not be any effect to each other. However, the changes of consensus, like from switching from proof of work to proof of stake, may affect some of the miners or the node operators. But in general, the DeFi trading should not be affected. We are trying to make merge as smooth as possible. That means any project and any infrastructure provider may not even feel that there has been the switch of this network. We are trying to update people to get their nodes ready. So when time comes, it will be just simply as simple as just switching on a switch.
Pooja, could you talk a bit about some of the test network that has been going on behind the scenes? I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there was recently a testnet launch, running through the scenario of the merge. Is that correct? And what exactly does that mean for listeners? What is Ethereum testnet? How does it play out? And what does it mean to the overall, I guess, success of the merge once we near that point?
That's a very interesting question because we have been talking about all making it solid and error-proof upgrade. So the testing of March started about a year ago with Rayonism. It was an event, in-person event where all client devs meet for the first time, talking about how we can plan the upgrade. And those were like from both the chain. As of now, for listeners, Ethereum is running two blockchains in parallel. One is proof of work or Ethereum mainnet, or many people call it as ETH1. And the other one is proof of a stake chain, which is also known as beacon chain and popularly known as ETH2. However, we are trying to deprecate these terms ETH1 and ETH2. So we are coming up as ETH1 execution layer, ETH2 consensus layer. So we have been doing testing since last summer. Rayonism was the first one, then it became Amphora, and then Pithas, then Kintsugi and Kiln. And the latest testnet that we are talking about is Ropsten. So Ropsten is a proof of work testnet that has been one of the longest running proof of work testnet. And since this is an upgrade moving towards proof of a stake, so developers developed a proof of a stake version of Ropsten that is called as Ropsten Beacon Chain. So Ropsten Beacon Chain genesis happened a few days earlier, and then it was prepped in a way that the proof of work should stop and proof of stake should take over. This process is called the merge, and this is activated at a TTD, a terminal total difficulty. That is a point where it is decided that the proof of work node will not make any decision to include blocks. The decision will be taken by the proof of a stake. So about Ropsten, as I mentioned, that it is one of the oldest testnet, and we wanted to test it the first because that has almost a similar spec to mainnet. That's one. That means whatever we can expect with mainnet can be expected with Ropsten. However, it is very heavy chain, and the developers decided that we may not be continuing this testnet after the merge. So that was the low-hanging fruit for us, that let's do, if anything goes wrong, we'll get to know what went wrong, and we will update it in the next testnets merge. But successfully, there wasn't much of a trouble, and Ropsten was a success. Now we are planning to have Sepolia testnet merge. So Sepolia is again a proof of work testnet for Ethereum mainnet. And yesterday was the launch of Beacon Chain for Sepolia, called as Sepolia Beacon Chain. I'm hoping that this Friday in all core dev meeting, they will be announcing that merge date for the Sepolia Beacon Chain. I'm hoping there would be a couple of more testnets to go, and then we will be targeting the mainnet, Ethereum mainnet.
Got it. That makes sense. So we're currently working through all of the bugs and fixes through the testnet, and then this should help us, ease over to migrating, or I guess merging when it comes time on the mainnet, right? Is that kind of the general idea here? Is you have several testnets to work out the kinks, and then once the merge happens, you move all of that over battle tested to the mainnet.
That is correct. And in parallel of these testing, we are also doing a special technique of testing that is called shadow forking. So, so far we have done like 3 shadow forking for Garly testnet and 6 shadow forking for Ethereum mainnet. I think today is 21st. Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the shadow fork 7 is planned for Ethereum mainnet. That means we are gonna create a shadow of the Ethereum mainnet and we will fork it, try to make sure that everything is going right. And every time we do these kind of experiments, we are learning some lessons from the past and trying to do more of experiments. So for this particular MS4 mainnet shadow fork 7, what we are trying to do, that we are trying to have an equal client split for all validators, because we know that there are different balance of clients. Some like Geth is a popular one, and the others are like minority clients, they are saying. Similarly, for the POS side, Prism is the main client, like that has been adopted by a lot of validators, but we are encouraging other clients to be adopted. So we are trying to test it with like having equal client split for all validators. And the aim is to fix whatever bugs were there in Ropsten to make sure there are no regressions. So yes, we are taking lessons from every testnet and doing multiple testing here.
And can I ask, what's been kind of the biggest surprise through the testnets? Have any issues emerged that weren't really expected, or is it kind of working through technical details?
One that I can say is related to Ropsten testnet itself. That was the biggest surprise, which we actually did not expect to happen in the first place, was when the TTD of Ropsten was announced. We were hoping it to appear on a certain date, like the transition was expected on a certain date. But some rogue miner, they added a lot of extra hash power, and TTD was arrived before Bellatrix happened. So what is Bellatrix? Bellatrix is an upgrade that is expected on the POS version. That means the proof of a stake version for Ropsten Beacon Chain we were expecting. And before the genesis of Beacon Chain, the TTD was arrived. That was a big trouble because the chain will be split and it will not be moving towards the proof of stake as expected. So they have to do an emergency override to it. They change the TTD number, and then genesis of Ropsten block Beacon Chain happened, and after that the merge happened. But we are expecting that this thing cannot happen on Ethereum mainnet because Ropsten is a testnet. Adding hash power is way cheaper there. However, adding this quantity of hash power on mainnet will be like super expensive. So we do not expect that, but we do have TTD override feature available. In case this thing happens, definitely we have a plan to fix it.
And then with the general commentary around the proof of stake versus proof of work, are there any points of the anti-proof of stake doctrine out there that you think hold water or need to be monitored closely, or in your mind is proof of stake is just the obvious path forward?
I mean, at this point, I can say this one thing for sure, that proof of stake is going to happen. This has been a dream of Ethereum community since the inception. Like I read somewhere, Vitalik could imagine it to be happening in the first 2 years of Ethereum launch. It didn't happen, but we don't regret that because whatever happened in between since then till date are all good things that happened to the blockchain community. We can expect that the hash power may significantly drop down because miners know that proof of a stake is not a place for Ethereum community. Proof of work is not a place for Ethereum miners anymore. So there are high chances that they start selling out their machines, and we can see a significant drop in the hashing power. That may change the date of a merge, the expected date, but we are hoping to get it managed because that has been taken into consideration. And as I mentioned earlier, this feature of TTD override is created not only to push it, but also if we need to bring the date before. So it's for both like pushing and pulling the date, just to be sure that we are doing it on the right date.
So there are, so going back to kind of the expectations for the merge, what does this mean for, the average Ethereum user or, consumer of NFTs and DeFi and this ecosystem that it has grown on top of Ethereum? What does the merge mean for all of that? How does it impact, the listeners of this call, if it does at all?
So I would like to start here with one of the biggest misconception that merge may bring the gas price down. It will not. However, it opens the door for many other features and layer 2 solution optimism that may help bring the transaction cost down in future. Not right away after the merge, but with this merge, we are putting the stepping stone ahead so we can start integrating other projects and L2 solutions to eventually bring down the cost of transaction down. It may not affect the NFT and other DeFi user right away, but using these other projects will definitely help grow the ecosystem um, on and all. Like we will have more people getting on transaction because high gas price is one of the reason that some of the mainstream user do not want to be a part of DeFi and others. But when this thing is under control, like it is way cheaper than it is right now, I believe that NFT project will also blossom. They will also have more and more projects there, and there will be like more support coming up from the community side.
And do you think the merge will impact the importance of layer 2 solutions for Ethereum, or do you think, I guess, does this help the layer 1 does this help layer 1 and hurt layer 2, or is it the opposite? Does this help layer 2? I guess, like, how does this affect some of these layer 2 solutions we've been talking about and hearing about, and that a lot of experts are saying are needed to scale Ethereum? What is the impact there?
I wouldn't say it will hurt anyone. It's basically for mutual benefits. What we are doing here in parallel, along with progressing towards merge, we are working on different proposals which will enable layer 2 projects to interact with the Ethereum chain and may be able to serve the customer with the lower gas price. There is this one popular proposal 4844 that is under development, and I think they are working with the team Optimism to make sure that things are turning out the way it is expected. And once this experiment is successful, this proposal is become a standard. It will be available for many other layer 2 projects to adopt and be compatible to the Ethereum blockchain. So their interaction with the main chain will be seamless, and they would be able to continue doing what they are doing, but in a more effective way. So it's a kind of symbiotic relationship. I don't think that anyone is going to be in loss. Definitely looking forward to have both of them benefited with this merge.
Got it. So it ends up helping layer 2s in a way because it helps, I guess, the core ecosystem of Ethereum to grow.
That's right.
Correct? Got it.
Yeah, that's right. We are working towards some of the EIPs. EIPs are Ethereum Improvement Proposals. We are trying to get them moved towards a standard, and when then standard is available, we'll share it with community. Just like ERC20. When ERC20 or EIP20 was introduced, it was adopted by many projects, and then we started seeing a lot of tokens coming up. So we are building a standard for interaction of layer 2 and Ethereum blockchain.
And so as we move forward, what are some checkpoints that are still needed to pass before the merge can go, or the merge on the mainnet happens? What are some checkpoints all of the listeners on the call can look out for?
So for merge, we have this Ethereum mainnet checklist that is available on, it's called mainnet readiness checklist. It is available on github.com/Ethereum PM. There we have a specified how we are taking every step. Right now we are into testnet stage that we are doing testing. Under testing, we already have done like unit testing, integration testing. Fuzzing is going on currently as well. And we are into testnets for the public testnet phase. So for public, we had like 4 major testnets to be undergoing into merge upgrade before we apply it on mainnet. Ropsten was the first. We are done with that. Sepolia is the next. And the third one is the Garly, and the fourth is the Prater. So for Ropsten and Sepolia, we designed the beacon chain, the head of POS chain for these POW testnets. But Garly is a proof of it's a POA chain. It's not proof of work chain. And we are trying proof of authority, and we are trying to get that merged with existing proof of stake testnet, and that testnet is Prater. So currently, Prater testnet is serving the present beacon chain, and Garly is serving the present POW chain. So we are expecting that after Ropsten, we will have at least 2 more testnets, public testnets undergoing the merge, and if everything goes good, then we will be moving towards the mainnet.
Well, let's hope it all goes well. I guess, are there still obstacles out there for, or maybe the question I want to ask is more so like, what are some unforeseen, or what is the probability that the merge happens or it doesn't happen? Like, can things still go wrong at this point, or do you feel that the developer community has it mostly under wraps in terms of understanding the merge and what is exactly needed to make this happen? Or is there still some possibility that it doesn't happen?
It doesn't happen. I don't think that is a possibility, because it can be like delayed, pushed forward if something goes wrong. But at this point, I have my own doubts that there could be something going wrong. At this point, the client team are almost ready, and what they are trying to do here is performance improvement. That means with every testnet, since every testnet and shadow forking testnet as well, they have been trying to improve themselves in terms of increasing the number of transaction and providing right information to the head. So the communication with the execution engine API works fine and everything else. But as of now, it looks like they are working in lockstep, and there shouldn't be any problem. In the last testnet also, the Ropsten one, I think there was a small error with Aragon, but Aragon team got to fix it real quick. So we are hoping that with every passing testnet, there are 2 more to go. All the kinks will be ironed out, and it should be a smooth upgrade.
So as we wrap up the half hour here, what probability would you give on the merge occurring on time this time?
So the guess here is we can be expecting merge in the next, for between every 2 testnet, we keep a gap of at least 2 to 3 weeks. So we are hoping the announcement for next testnet merge will be coming up this Friday. So you can expect that there would be 2 weeks for there, and then there would be Garly and Prater, another 2 to 3 weeks, and that will, this is June, July, August. We can expect something around August and September, but this is not an official date. This is just my guess, and we are hoping that things will go right, unless, as you say, we can't say unforeseen. If something really goes back, that it might be pushed for a few more days or so. But at this point, looking at the present status of all clients and their readiness, it doesn't seem likely.
Gotcha. And then after the merge, what's next?
Oh, there are a lot to come up after the merge. So at present, the present Beacon chain, it has a feature that is called deposit. We are in a position to deposit our Ether, and we do staking and perform our duties and collect rewards. But collection of reward are only there in their wallet. Only on the chain, right? They cannot bring it to their personal wallet. So the one biggest feature that you could expect after the merge upgrade would be a collection of these money. The reward that they have been doing. So staking, withdrawal will be enabled. That's one thing that we are looking forward to. And there are a few EVM improvement proposals are in line that we would be expecting with the next upgrade. So we are already in progress working towards Shanghai upgrade, which we can expect after the merge. Maybe as soon as 3 months, but it can go longer depending upon how much we are done by the time merge is there on testing side. So we are doing testing in parallel for the Shanghai upgrade as well.
Got it. And then for everyone still listening, what's the best way to get into the weeds and follow along if they want to? What's the best resource out there?
So for merge upgrade, if people may listen to YouTube, there are 2 calls. One is on Thursday at 1400 UTC, that is called consensus layer meeting. And the other one is alternate Friday. So if this Thursday is CL meeting, then the other Friday would be the all core dev meeting. Generally, the first 30 minutes are the office hour for merge related information. And other than that, there is a blog from Ethereum Foundation called blog.ethereum.org. They have all the latest updates available. As some of us may have noticed that today they published a blog about deprecation announcement for Ropsten, Rinkeby, and Kiln testnet. So people who are working on these, like if there are any projects, those are testing on these testnet, they might want to move to Sepolia and Gorley. So I think these are the best places to get information about merge.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Nick, do you have any final questions?
No, just thank you so much, Pooja, for joining again. And we'll hopefully have you back on as we near the mainnet merge, and we can learn all about what obstacles the developer community overcame and what is still left to be done for Ethereum when that time comes. It's exciting.
It is.
Thank you.
We'll learn of the backstory of the one intern who accidentally typed in the wrong thing, but then it was saved at the last second.
Who almost crashed the Ethereum network, but didn't.
Right. All right. It was really a pleasure of mine to be here again and sharing all the updates. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. Thank you again. And I'll close this out with the disclosure. So feel free to turn this off, or you can listen so you can be informed that the information provided in today's session is for informational purposes only and does not constitute an offer, solicitation, or recommendation regarding any investment, product, or service. Any reference is not an endorsement by ARC nor a recommendation by ARC to buy, sell, or hold. We cannot discuss any private or non-public material information of any kind. Participants should determine for themselves whether a particular service or product is suitable for their investment needs or should seek professional advice for their particular situation. Certain statements on today's call may be statements of future expectations or other forward-looking statements based on ARC's current views and assumptions that involve both known and unknown risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results, performance, or events to differ materially from those expressed or implied. ARC does not assume any obligation to update forward-looking information, and all information discussed today is subject to change without notice. In addition, certain information was obtained from sources that ARC believes to be reliable. However, ARC does not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of information obtained from any third party. With that, enjoy the rest of the solstice. Enjoy the rest of the day.
If you would like to see more content like this, subscribe to our channel and download the public app where you can listen to these sessions in live time.